welcome to another edition of Roundtable Talk. It's been quite a while since we've had one of these programs for more reasons than one, and it's been quite a while since we've had the Prime Minister in studios with us. I know the past month, several weeks have been quite grueling. We had the July 1 Hurricane Beryl disaster. I know I can't think of any leader who has been through so much disasters during their tenure of office. You had floods to deal with. You had COVID, the pandemic. You have had the volcanic eruption. Now there's Hurricane Beryl. What is the difference? Has there been a difference, you would say, and a different approach in dealing or managing the various tragedies?
Thank you very much, Teresa, and I'm very happy to be back with you again, and I want to welcome all our viewers. Since 2002, with Tropical Storm Lily, we have had in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, including Beryl, 10 major weather events.
Didn't realize it was that many.
Indeed, before Beryl, and I'm not talking about COVID and I'm not talking about the volcanic eruptions, I'm talking about those directly connected with the matter of climate change issues and the as we'd say, bad weather, floods, tropical storms, hurricanes, 10 of them. The direct economic damage, not economic loss, the direct damage in dollar terms, in today's dollar terms, is in excess of $1 billion US dollars. Again, I'm not dealing with COVID, I'm not dealing with the 21 volcanic eruptions in April 2021. Beryl is, of course, of these major weather events, by far the worst. The one hitherto, which was some 19% of our gross domestic product, was a series of rainstorms between March and April in 2011. We had Thomas in 2010, October. Then in April 2011, March, April, we had 16 floods in that period. People tend to forget that. That was 19% of our gross domestic product. And the gross domestic product, as you are aware, is the totality, the aggregate value of all the goods and services produced in the country in 1 year. 19%, call it 20%, one-fifth. This time, the blow to our GDP directly, the value of the economic damage itself is about 30%. The economic loss is more. I'm talking just to put things which would have been destroyed in some shape as it was before. That's what the data show. Then, of course, we had COVID, which gave us a tremendous knock. As you know, locked down the country for several months. We didn't lock down, but other people locked down on us. And then the volcanic eruptions, which, so when you take into account that our GDP is our gross domestic product right now is about 3.1 billion EC dollars. Just over 1 billion US, 1 point something billion US. We have lost in direct economic damage more than the totality of our current GDP. That is to say 2002 to barrel in 2024. The aggregate of that economic damage. No. And then, of course, we had COVID, which came to us like a thief in the night. That also is generated by climate change issues and some of the fallout from particular aspects of globalization. And then the volcanic eruptions, it's our seismology, it's our volcanology, it's our condition. And that gave us a knock, which when you add those two together to this in excess of 1 billion US, nearly 3 billion EC dollars, you could add easily another 750, 800 million EC dollars. This is way in excess of what is our current GDP, the cumulative damage, and then the economic loss. But yet, we have survived and we are thriving. It is remarkable. There's no country which have in the region which has had such a multiplicity of weather events. Of course, Dominica had a big one in Maria, which blew out their GDP completely in 1 year, the economic damage. Grenada in 2004 with Ivan, but ours have been cumulative. And of course, we have built up a lot of experience in dealing with natural disasters, in managing them.
What lessons have been learned in this regard?
Well, you know, in 2006, we revamped entirely the legislative framework in dealing with disasters by passing the NEMO Act. And we had been instituting the provisions of NEMO before we actually passed the act, because we had to do a lot of things administratively. The whole Act of 1947 was a piece of colonial legislation which was practically useless. And you have to have a good juridical footing, good legislative footing to get anything done properly. Before our time, the disaster preparedness office consisted of 2 persons, and they shared responsibility for local government coordinator. Local government coordinator, disaster preparedness officer. 1 man plus a clerk, that's all. What we have now is an entire network of interconnectedness between all the various ministries and state agencies and important private sector entities, with leadership all the way from district committees coming right up to the National Emergency Management Council, of which I am the chair. And we organize ourselves in a manner so that we can deal with the 3 R's: relief, recovery, reconstruction. And we have national emergency plan in relation to hurricanes or storms. When we are tracking it coming, 72 hours before, there's a checklist of what we do. 48 hours before, 24 hours before, 12 hours before, and then countdown time when we are hit. And then what we do immediately after, beginning the reconstruction. And we have fine-tuned the systems, and we nationally, and of course, we have developed very good links regionally And we put many of these things too on a legislative footing, regional security system, the CDMA, the work which we do with the United Nations agencies, and so forth and so on. So you have an experienced cadre of individuals, and with the rollout, this is a huge exercise, and this one bigger than any one before in terms of these weather events. So far, of course, where we moved out 20% of our population, and North Windward and parts of North Leeward were completely decimated. Now we have the devastation of the southern Grenadines, particularly Union Island, which is ground zero, Beryl's apocalypse.
This must have brought on some different challenges altogether.
Absolutely different challenges, because you take, for instance, because everything in Union Island, which is an island of over 3,000 persons and 1,300 buildings, most of which are dwelling houses. Workers don't have anywhere to stay, so how are you going to reconstruct, Teresa? All the communications are lost. You have to travel by boat from one place to the next. You have to make all those arrangements. And what we have done in the case of how we deal with, say, Union Island, we start doing work. Main things you have to do, make sure that food is in order, water, basic health, basic security. Sea transportation. So we move people up and down. But now, there's a very important organizational hub which we have established with Canawan as a veritable beachhead for Union. Yesterday, we took 80 persons from Canawan on a catamaran to help the nearly 600 people who are already there doing the cleaning up. Two contractors. And the persons who come on the morning from the catamaran go back in the evening. We want a bigger boat because we can then put additional people in Canawan before we build out the infrastructure for housing people in Union. To move people, because we have repaired, for instance, in Canawan, the administrative building. We can put people, we can house people inside of there meanwhile, workers. And we have started down in Union Island. We have the school, the secondary school, Union Island Secondary School, that would be ready in time. But we are doing stuff like we have an entity which will help us, a partner, which will help us to work on the Stephanie Brown Secondary School, work on the RRU building. The RRU building then will help house people. Because we have tarpaulin, we have tapped the whole of the airport building, which lost its roof. So that's where a lot of police and other people play, tents in the yard and all the rest of it. That's a base in Union.
So does that mean the airport would not be operational for quite some time?
No, well, the airport is operational. You can land.
Right.
But they're really charter flights.
Okay.
I've been to Union several times.
Yeah.
By air. Other people too, on an ongoing basis. The Twin Otters go and come the 19-seaters. So you have to be creative also. And in what is critical in each of these cases, proper organization in Union, proper organization in Myro, proper organization in Canada, and also in Beckwith involving the state, NGOs, certain private sector entities, and community activists.
Okay.
And helping to drive with NEMO here at the center and with the whole structure coming all the way up to the Prime Minister, who is chair of the National Emergency Management Council. And the Management Council meets every week. Under the Management Council, we have the National, the Executive Committee of NEMO, which consists of and chaired by the head of NEMO and all the permanent secretaries, state agencies, and the like. And then you have 13 subcommittees of the National Emergency Management Council. So that when I meet every Saturday morning with them every week, and I receive reports on an ongoing basis. I have here, for instance, a report from NEMO. I have a report from the Ministry of National Mobilization, a report from the Minister of Housing, and so on and so on and so forth. BRAGSA, all the various agencies, the security situation, water, electricity, whatever it is, the health, public health situation, all of them. We get reports on an ongoing basis. And on every Friday, before a National Emergency Management Council meeting, I get reports so they're studied so that on the meeting itself we can follow through, get more details, get decisions, have explanations, and so on and so forth. It's a good structure. Of course, human beings have to run them, and human beings, things happen to human beings. In one case, somebody's father, who is a leader, is hospitalized. Another one, the mother died. Somebody is very sick, had to go for medical attention. The public don't see these things. But these are real life situations, because we are not dealing with robots. We are not dealing
with human beings.
With machines.
Yeah.
We're dealing with human beings.
Yes.
With all multiplicity of issues and challenges. And what we have to do, at the same time we're doing relief, recovery, reconstruction. Distinct phases, but they overlap. For instance, even when you're doing reconstruction, you still have to do relief. And the way the matter becomes very complicated is that you're managing the shelters. You have 28 schools are among the shelters, the main shelters on St. Vincent. You have to make sure that the persons who are in the shelters have either private accommodation or fixing up or in homes, or they go inside of, you fix their homes, or you rent rooms in guest houses and the like. Because those schools, children have to go in them on September the 2nd. And those schools also have some damage done, and you have to repair them. And we are on the evening of the 7th of August.
Let's talk about that.
So that's just one dimension.
Yeah.
Then, of course, in Union Island, there's special situation for education. There are things with water, electricity. It is humongous, and all of them are interconnected. And while all that is being done, I still have to lead the process of carrying out the developmental program for sustainable development, the capital program in the estimates for 2024. The port has to go on. We're just starting. You see the fencing in the place. The contractors taking hold of the place on the old Hannesville, Old E.T. Joshua Tarmac, to begin the construction of the acute care hospital. The school repair program is going on. The roads are going on. The Creative Fund came yesterday, 2 days ago, and the contractors, you know, the sheikh who is one of the main persons in the KDL construction company, to see how we can expedite and get these programs done. The road program by the Taiwanese, the CDB road schools projects, all the funded projects in agriculture, fisheries, telecommunications. All of these things have to go on Sandy Bay, sea defense. It's just, and then today we had to start the annual cleanup program. Away of the usual cleanup, which there's going to be 5,000 persons without the truckers. The truckers are additional. Then we have started the annual summer school repair program. But it's only worse than last time because there are schools which, and I can talk to you, you know, about particular details.
We'll talk about that when we
Fine.
come back from our first break. Back in just a moment.
It's back. Yes, the Instacash game bingo is back. You asked for it, and the NLE is giving it to you. Bingo! Where there's a chance to win up to $6,000. There's also the new Instacash game, Hot Numbers, with 5 chances where you can win up to $8,000. Get your bingo and Hot Numbers Instacash games at all Lotto agents. Instacash, where there's no waiting in line. You can win on the spot. Instacash, so easy to play.
Stop the spread of viral infections, including the flu and COVID-19, by practicing proper hand washing. Follow these simple steps. Remove all jewelry before washing hands. Wet hands using running water. Place liquid soap in hand. Circulate using rotational movements, interlace fingers, and repeat switching hands. Wash back of fingers, rotating them in the palms. Wash fingertips, rotating them in palms. Wash thumbs using rotational movements. Thoroughly wash hands down to the wrists. Rinse hands. Dry with clean tissue. Turn off tap using tissue. Use tissue to open door and discard in bin. A simple act can make a huge difference. Stop the spread of viral infections, including the flu and COVID-19, by practicing proper hand washing. This is a message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment.
Welcome back. Prime Minister, what are the priority areas as we go forward in terms of managing Hurricane Beryl and carrying on with regular programming in terms of all the other developmental initiatives that need to take place?
First of all, when there's a disaster, the first thing you have to do is to save lives and to make sure that there's a relief period where you take care of food, where you take care of water, you take care of public health, sanitation, people's personal security. You make sure that there is a roof over persons' heads, shelters, private homes, guest houses, the like. And then this one is massive in terms of the cleanup required. On the land itself, we will spend in excess of $25 million cleaning up, galvanize and board debris of one kind or another. And then we have to clean up in the situ. Because galvanize fly in the mountain, the bush. You can fly in seawater too. It follows. Restoration of electricity and water. The electricity restoration, preliminary, the estimation of it is about $21 million. Water is close to $20 million, and these are preliminary estimates. I have a feeling that they're going to be more. And in each of the devastated islands, we are making progress in each of them in relation to all of the things which AC I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Then, Beryl struck on the 1st of July. On the 2nd of September, we have school. I was talking about shelters, and some of them are used for schools. Let's take Union Island. Mary Hutchinson School, completely destroyed. The Stephanie Brown Primary School, severely damaged, so to the Union Island Secondary School. We began the cleaning up program while doing the Union Island Secondary School. When you do the Union Island Secondary School, that is immediately a sign to people that you're concerned about education, and that no child in any of the Grenadine Islands must be put in a less advantageous position than any other child elsewhere, which means you have to make appropriate arrangements. So, we are preparing for students, if their parents want them to be in Union Island, to be there. If they want to be here, we're going to be here. But before we even begin our consultation, we couldn't waste any time. We had to start to work on, while we were working on the Union Island Secondary School, we began working here too on the old Teachers College, the former Richmond Gabriel University, to have a replication of a Union Island Secondary School there, a Mary Hutchinson Primary and a Stephanie Brown Primary. There are 210 students which you're going to have at Union Island Secondary School in the new term. Between Mary Hutchinson and Stephanie Brown Primary School, 250 students. So call them all told, 450 students, 460 students. But because of the ground zero condition down in Union Island, we have in shelters of about 160 persons from Union Island, 160, 170. But we have 618 households registered with us who are in St. Vincent.
Okay.
Each household is at least 3 persons on an average. And not everybody has registered with the Ministry of National Mobilization. We have established what is called, from July the 10th, a National Private Home Placement Registry. And those persons who are in these homes, you get a government box of food, 400 and something, close to $500. There'll be a smaller World Food Program box. So you'll get mattresses, so you'll get water. Those households have to be taken care of. We have 20 elderly persons, mainly from the southern Grenadines, inside of guest houses. Now, we therefore going to have primary school, Stephanie Brown, which would be open down there, because we expect to repair that. That should start sometime later this week, or maybe Monday the latest.
So that would cater for everybody who wants to remain on the island?
For the primary schools.
Okay.
And then we have the secondary schools. But persons are going to be coming up, persons are up here and they're not going down. They're going to keep their children to go to school. I don't know. The ministry is collecting the information, and I don't know what information, what all information will show. But early indications are that a significant number of parents who are up here, they want the children to stay here. Well, we have to find space for them in private homes or in guest houses. No, not only for the students, but for at least one of their parents. So we have to pay for them in these guest houses. And I've raised the issue, and we haven't yet come up with a sum yet. A person who is keeping you in their house, may keep you in their house in a room in your house, Teresa, for a month maybe, Good Samaritan, maybe 2 months, but may wish to have some support. But the evacuees don't have the money to give them. So the state will have to come in to assist. Say, well, how much for each room in the house? We'll provide food and water and the like. And if you provide food for the guests in the house, you have to provide food also for the host. Because how can you, I'm staying in your house, Nemo brings food for me, but don't bring any for you. Bring a box for me and don't bring a box for you. Huh? You see the details with which you have to address this particular matter. Let's go away from Union. Let's go to Myro. The students from Myro go to school in Union, the secondary school.
Yeah.
And we provide transport for them. Many of the parents want now to go to Canawan because the Canawan situation is better. We're repairing both the primary and secondary school in Canawan. They would be in time for the opening of the school year. No. And we're doing so with a wealthy individual who has a home in Canawan, who actually is born in Trinidad, but a British person. And he has an organization, and we're working together, and he's working within the state apparatus, this organization which we have in Canawan. As in fact, he's beginning to do now with experienced logistics persons and the like in Union Island. But we'd have those students, maybe a dozen of them from Myro, we'd have to take them to Canawan. If that's where they want to go, I will facilitate that, which means I'll have to have special transportation arrangements for them to go, which is a longer distance than doing a longer distance than the Myro to Union Island. Then we come up to Beckway. There's something down to the school which we build the main primary school in Beckway in Port Elizabeth. But there's a Patchett Farm Primary School. It's gone, it's mashed up. We have to build, the time it's going to take to fix that up. The school term will come and go, and you won't be able to have children going into the school. So we have to build a temporary school. But the piece of land which you have to put the school on, we have to have somebody to design it. Well, they've just completed the design, and down there could be waterlogged, so you have to put it up a little bit higher. We have to build that out. The repairs for the school down in Lower Bay, a smaller school, that's fine. Come on the mainland. The school at Calder, it's gone. That going to cost over $500,000 to fix up. Let's go to Bishop's College, Kingston. I'm giving you examples so that your viewer will see. I can talk about many other schools, but I'm giving you the complexity of the problem. Bishop's College has 416 students. The roof is gone. I'd suggest the Anglican community with whom we are working, it's their school, but they're building, but we pay everybody in the school, and we provide the resources for the school to operate, the government that is. And they're waiting on the insurance because they want to change the roof to put a concrete roof on it, because they're hoping at some time to go up another story. The quicker thing would have been for us, easier, to build a temporary school. They give permission for us to put it on the park, put it on the playing field. We have one of our architects go, man who went to Bishop College, Dimitri, scraped it up well, son. Dimitri said, listen to me. The school for 460 students, the footprint of that land, too small. I have to go to plan B, to put on the concrete. But you have to first of all get the report from the structural engineer hired by the Anglican community. Can the structure be a concrete roof without major
Changes.
without columns have to go in and so on? The answer, I got it this morning.
It's a no.
No, you can put on the concrete roof, but you can't go up a floor. You'll have to put columns. So we'll put on the concrete roof. Brax was talking to a contractor this morning to start that. But all that you have to take time to figure out all of those things. It's like in the book of Ecclesiastes, you want to try something in the morning, you try something else in the evening, you don't know which one work, whether the one here or the other or both. And this is how because you have tight timelines. I can give many more examples, but I think I give enough illustration as to how complicated this problem is. Now, you go to Union Island. Let's say, for argument's sake, half of the students want to stay down there and half of the students want to stay up here. I have to provide 2 sets of staff. That's additional costs. Plus, of course, I meanwhile have to be preparing facilities down there and making sure that the electricals are rolling out as fast as they possibly can. It is a humongous operation. But life doesn't stand still. I'll give you the data. Give you some data here. Shelters. At the moment, as of the 31st of July, there are 1,331 persons in 72 shelters. 44 of them are listed by the government, and 28 are by non-governmental entities, but the government is supporting them, food, all the logistics, everything. 711 on St. Vincent, 52 on Beckway, 95 on Canawan, 44 on Myro, 429 on Union Island. On Myro, in the primary school, there's big family there, I'm advised, in the school, but we need to repair it and buildings in the yard. So we have to fix up their house first before we can move them out to do the repairs. You see how everything has to be linked. Then in Canawan, we have 95 persons in the shelters in the 2 schools. Parts of the roof came off, but parts that can be used. We have to fix up those houses or have alternative accommodation for those in order for children to come into that school, into those 2 schools, and so on and so forth. Now, we have people who are in private households and who have registered, because you have more than those who have registered because the registration process continues. 618 from Union Island and St. Vincent, households registered. That's nearly 2,000 persons, you know. Of course, people come and go because they want to go back down to Union and come back up, or they want to check out the place, help to clean up and all the rest of it. Myro, 30 households on St. Vincent. Canawan, 147 households. Beckway, 122. But this number may surprise you. Those who are registered as being in private home placement, 2,720 from St. Vincent and St. Vincent.
2,000.
Clearly, those are not all who have been directly. Unlikely all of those have been directly affected by burial to go into private home placements. So there are some persons who are saying, because of this disaster, indirectly we were affected, and we also need food, and we also need mattresses, and we need... All that has to be financed. Then the government food boxes, I've been advised, is between $400 and something and $500. 2 weeks it lasts.
Is there enough food to...
Yeah. We keep telling the supermarkets and everybody else we need more. Order the food, but, you know, and we get in there. We are now decentralizing the food distribution, as we did in the volcanic eruptions. You ask a peculiar situation, transportation. You know, as soon as this disaster struck, one of the first thing we did, we hired Jaden's son. Jaden's son then conked out. Something got wrong with the engine.
Let's talk about the impact of that when we come back from a second break. Back in just a moment.
It's back. Yes, the Instacash game bingo is back. You asked for it, and the NLE is giving it to you. Bingo! Where there's a chance to win up to $6,000. There's also the new Instacash game, Hot Numbers, with 5 chances where you can win up to $8,000. Get your bingo and Hot Numbers Instacash games at all Lotto agents. Instacash, where there's no waiting in line. You can win on the spot. Instacash, so easy to play.
welcome back. Prime Minister, before we took the last break, we were talking about transportation, and I know you were talking about the fact that you had made a hire of a particular company, and things happened. So how has that impacted
Well,
everything
it's
else?
impacted for the simple reason. Jaden Son, the fast ferry, is 90 minutes to go from here to Union Island, 40 miles. The other ferries is 4 hours. So if you're left with Jaden Son at 8 o'clock and you go down and you want to do anything, you can reach there by 10, just before 10. And you leave down there at 4:30, 5. You can do a reasonable amount of work. But with Jaden Son, gone, and they're fixing up the engine maybe another 2 weeks, as I understand the reports. But fortunately, we have other vessels. We have Beckway Express, we have Gemstar, there's Admiral. Now, we just approved that cabinet what would be what we call option 3 of 4 options which were presented. Total expenditure from the 4th of July to the 31st of December this year would be $3.666 million to do 5 trips by Jaden Son, Monday to Friday, per week for passengers. 2 trips by, say, Beckway Express per month for regular charters, passengers and cargo. And then you hire, say, Beckway Express, 2 trips per month for special charters, and Gemstar, 1 trip a week for passengers and cargo. You may say, well, why you have to do so many passengers and so many cargo? Remember I told you earlier, I request and get, and I have to read all of these reports, all the various things, coordination. What the data show between the 5th and the 31st of July. The total number of passengers traveling from St. Vincent to Union, Mairo, Canoan, Beckway. Well, Beckway is, that's different. People, people pay their way and so on, but the others. 1,666 passengers on Union to St. Vincent in that 1 month period. 157 from Mairo, 1,075 from Canoan. And for those islands, 11,270 aggregations of cargo, or pieces of cargo. For instance, if you bring a whole set of blocks to take down, they're considered 1 piece of cargo. I bring them, or you bundle up a whole set of lumber, that's 1 piece of cargo. And as the recovery begins, we see an uptick since the 31st of July. So we have to make sure that we have enough cargo. And I have to facilitate it. That money is not coming from Mars. That money is not coming from any grant. That's all money,
And how have we been financing them?
Well, I could come to that shortly. So this is, no. We just approved today at Cabinet a memo brought by Kisel Peters, who is the new Minister of Social Development. In addition to the millions of dollars we provide for back to school This is what she calls an expansion of the back to school grant proposal in relation to uniform and some books and so on and so forth, tops and bottoms and shoes and all sorts of various things. $950,000 from the supplementary budget. This, which we passed in Parliament in 2.5 weeks after burial. Struck, we passed this. We tabled it in Parliament on the 18th and passed it after midnight on the 19th, Friday the 19th, July. While we're doing everything else, we had to put things on a proper footing. This is funded. The bulk of the funding for this. The largest item is $50 million from the contingencies fund. You may recall in 2017, 2018, when I say, I went to Parliament, I said, let us put 1 percentage point on top of the VAT, carried from 15 to 16. You remember the beating that I got? The opposition gave me a tongue lashing. Media, talk show hosts, who were just not understanding the world in which we live and this world of climate change. I said, we have to put something in the kitty aside. I said, this is not a soak the poor tax, because we exempt a lot of foods and pampers and all kind of other things from taxes. Electricity, only few people pay electricity, pay VAT on electricity. A lot of things are either exempted or zero rated. I said this is a tax to help the poor, because when you have a natural disaster, the people who are most adversely affected, worst affected, are the poor and the marginalized and the disadvantaged. And dip into it, consolidated fund. Pass a special law for it, properly regulated, dip into it. It's seen as a model fund. World Bank, IMF, CDB, everybody thinks it's a model fund. Dip into it for COVID, and dip into it for volcanic eruptions, and dip into it for Hurricane Elsa, dip into it now for burial, 50 million. If I didn't have that, I think I could be doing some of these things, which we are doing. Then $5 million from an insurance, $5 million in local loans, and then the bilateral loans, I'm telling you here, hold on. $32 million. We have total grants of 44 million, really for relief. But these grants, one single item, one single country gave nearly $14 million. Taiwan, a repurpose a loan, repurpose a grant to suit this. And then the wealthy homeowner put $5 million US in the kitty, $13.4 million. Yeah, a lot of, well, we're grateful for the $100,000 here, the $50,000 here, and all the rest of it. But those are not the significant monies. And then I have to go hunting for the monies. I have a meeting with the World Bank tomorrow. Tomorrow is my birthday. Yes. But I'm working. Monday the 12th is my wedding anniversary. I'm working. You know, and there'll be a little joy because I'll go away for one day to Trinidad. My last daughter there, my second daughter, Soleil, she getting married. So amidst all the things, there's some joy.
Okay.
This is how, but for housing alone, on a partial rapid assessment done by the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, Sarah will need $335 million to deal with housing. But it's partial, or the areas they didn't cover. Our estimate is $400 million. I have 35 on a present fund from the Saudis, which was before. I have 25 in the supplementary. That's 60 I started with. We're looking to repurpose some other monies. And I'm on the hunt looking for even more monies. No. What are we doing with the housing? Brewster sent this for me this morning at 8:21 a.m. We're buying materials from the local companies. But we needed a big amount, and fortunately we had ordered a bigger sum, big amount, over $5 million from Tankwell in Jamaica. They brought a shipment already, which was just over $2 million last week. Tomorrow, another shipment coming in, mainly lumber. But we have such a good relationship with this company, the biggest companies dealing with materials in the region. They haven't paid 1 cent yet on this. This is $13.5 million. We're looking at other suppliers too to help, and other modalities. By the way, we are the first government in the history of this country which, after a disaster, building houses for poor people or repairing their house. You know that? None before. The United States of America doesn't do it. But we have been doing it. But this one is a real big one. So I have to find many creative ways to get to it. I'm telling you what I have, what I don't have yet, but what I have, I'm working on it. And
are you going to say where you're going to work?
Yeah, look, they buy this with Jesus.
Okay.
Then the Courier's Hardware pledged $250,000, you know, and we'll do vouchers, 3,000, 7,000, 10,000, and mainly for the Southern Grenadines. But we are grateful, but that's not a number which is in relation to 400 million. But still, every bit counts. CK Graves pledged $500,000 in galvanized.
Okay.
At the moment, we have the following warehouses because we're decentralizing. Trumuka, Camden Park, Arnersville, Sanssouci, Park Hill, Langley Park, Beckway, Union Island.
Okay.
We'll probably have more. We send down materials to Union, we send to Beckway, we send to Canawan, we send to Michael. to do
And
government buildings.
how are they being managed?
We have our own structure on the ground dealing with it, housing, and also in the case of Bragsa took materials itself. Right at the moment, we have done housing assessments throughout the country. We have done the housing assessments we have done so far, and the housing assessment is continuing about the damage. 3,089. As I told you about Sidima did an assessment, a rapid assessment. But we now have to go and say this house belongs to Teresa Daniel. This one belongs to Tom Jones. This one is to Ephraim Johnson. You see what I mean? And this is what has to be done to it. We at the moment we are, and we have residue from Sofrino.
Still.
We still have residue from Sofri, and we have to deal with that. At the moment, we have 286 housing repairs going on through the Ministry of Housing, and we're ramping up with the Ministry of Housing and Land Development Corporation. Look, I want to use your program. I need contractors. I need laborers. I need carpenters. I need masons. I need skilled tradesmen and women for housing and for Bragsa. Right now, Teresa, no contractor in St. Vincent and the Grenadines who's interested in working will be without work. No man or woman who is interested in working will be without work. Right now. You take, Orlando wrote this to me, Dr. Brewster. He said, still looking for contractors to work with us. After putting out a call for 2 weeks, we received only 24 new contractors. He said, at this point, we have only 135 contractors registered with housing in all the constituencies. I need more than that. I want urgently contractors, builders, skilled tradesmen and women, unskilled workers who work in the construction industry. Go to housing, go to Bragsa. I want you to register, take your valid ID card, your NIS number, and your banking information. Because we pay you to the bank. Please, and also if you're listening to me, if your house gets damaged, has gotten damaged, I want you, and no assessor from the Ministry of Housing has come to you yet. Don't wait. Go in, give the Ministry of Housing your information and register. I am determined for us to address this issue.
Okay, we'll take our final break. When we come back, we've spoken about education, we've spoken about housing. We want to look a little bit on some of the other sectors that have been affected and what are some of the measures being put in place to assist them. Back in just a moment.
It's back. Yes, the Instacash game bingo is back. You asked for it, and the NLE is giving it to you. Bingo. where there's a chance to win up to $6,000. There's also the new Instacash game, Hot Numbers, with 5 chances where you can win up to $8,000. Get your bingo and Hot Numbers Instacash games at all Lotto agents. Instacash, where there's no waiting in line. You can win on the spot. Instacash, so easy to play.
So this is our final segment. We've gone over time already, but at least we would like to talk a little bit about what's happening in the other sectors for fishing. I've been hearing a lot of grumblings and complaints that nothing is being done and so forth. So what is happening in the other sectors in terms of recovery? And
we have resources inside of the main budget and resources in the supplementary to assist with fishing and agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
An assessment is being made. I just urge a patience and a calm. And I urge unity and solidarity among our people. And I urge faith, fresh hope, and abundant love. And faith is the substance of things which we hope for and the evidence of that which we have not yet seen. That's how it's defined in the good book. Today is August the 7th. It's only 5 weeks. We have brought back life to some semblance of normalcy. Beckway had 20-something% of their houses damaged, you know. Brought back the electricity, the water, and everything. And an assessment is being made of the boats. And today at Cabinet, Saboto says that he has a package of in excess of $2 million, which of items which he wants to bring to the Cabinet on Wednesday, hopefully, with some things, farmers and fishers. In fact, and so there's going to be some consultations also throughout the country. For instance, he gave me the date for one in Connery, farming. Similar things are going to be happening down in the Grenadines with fishing. The problems with fishing, boats have been damaged. But more than boats which have been damaged is the fish, the catch,
the stock.
The stock. You have problems because of global warming and the storms and so on and so forth. Well, even the numbers are even reduced from the silt, from Soufrière. Eventually, it will come back. So there have been challenges. That's why we have, in our supplementary estimate, monies for not only to help with equipment and to help with production supports, which would include the boats and, in the case of farmers, things of equipment and tools and all the rest of it, but also income support, because they have suffered a loss in income, and we want for a period of time to give them some money every 2 weeks, every month, and we're finalizing that whole package. Have it in the estimates, finalizing the modalities of getting it out. So I'm just saying to them, listen to all what we are doing and all what is required to be done. And let's don't have any divisiveness. Because as the sun rises tomorrow morning, if we begin to have divisiveness on any issue, political, a selfish agenda, some peculiar personal agenda, whatever the divisiveness may come about, we will not be able to recover and reconstruct optimally. That has been part of our lived experience. And Teresa, I don't have any dog hunting in this race other than the interests of those who have been affected and those of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Amidst all my weaknesses and limitations, people know that I have a love for them, not generally, but individually across. I don't have things, the whole malice against people, nothing at all. I proceed in a manner with the gifts that the good Lord has given to me. And despite my limitations, I also have a lot of strengths and possibilities. and they have been demonstrated over the years. So I'm not presenting myself in some kind of way as demigod or anything like that, because I'm not. But we can see by our works how we have been doing things. And all of the challenges which we have had, we have dealt with them. And in a way, when the Secretary General of the United Nations came here early in March this year for the CELAC meeting, he was shocked to see when he wanted to go into the North Windward area. He says, look, as though we didn't have the volcanic eruptions. I showed them the houses which we have built and the titles which we're going to give to people and so on, and what we did. It just blew his mind. And people know that. I understand that people will have anxieties, but bear with me, work with the government, let's work together. Let's not fight one another. There are some people who have an interest in fighting. And what they do, you know, we mammals, the whale is a mammal. The analogy I'd use, the whale goes down in the water, doesn't really know it's happening so much on land. And every now and again it has to come up. And it inhales and then it exhales. And it goes back down under the water. I have some people who behave like that. Please, let's just work together. And while all this is happening, had the Kuwaiti Fund come here, because there's $90 million road program. We hammer out over a 2-day period. How are we going to get this road program completed by the end of January? And what is required? I mean, the two, and this is only one road program, doing things. There were 10 roads in phase 1. 5 had been finished. Belair Village Road, Brighton Salt Pond, Calder Main Road, Connery Estate Road, Greg's Lomans Road. The roads which have subcontractors attached to them under the Kuwaiti contractor. Enams Road, Montreal Gardens Road, Otley Hall Main Road, Sayers Village Road, Carrera Road. And we have timelines for each of them. On the phase 2, of the 13 roads, 3 of them have been delivered. Richland Park Road, Verifying Road, Lauders Chapman's Road. And those which had to be delivered by the end of January, some before, was Benjamin Bristol Road, Copeland Road, Fairhall Road, Farm Macmillan Road, Gomez Road, Lammy Road, Malone, Orange Hill Lot 2, Orange Hill Lot 3, and Palmyra. have in my hand here a report as to all the places, those which are to be paved, how much meters to be paved, when the date, the proposed date of completion, and the schedule. The work otherwise has to go on and continue. And as I'm telling you, the 5,000 workers will be rolling out from today, tomorrow, Friday, for the road, for the normal cleaning up. Then the normal repair of houses, repair of schools, over this period, plus the CDB project on schools. You know, today at Cabinet, we received the final designs with everything and explanation for the modern Parliament building, which I'm hoping that we can start it physically before the end of this year, because I had to do some procurement now for contractors and so on. I'm determined that all the major projects which we have, they must be rolling out. They must be rolling out, and we're working assiduously while we're doing all this work for relief, recovery and reconstruction after burial. But please, I'm begging you, able-bodied persons, look for your work with housing, look for your work with Bragsa. Contractors, for the roads, for the houses, for the school buildings, for government buildings generally, all the tradesmen, you know, down in Union right now, we have nearly 600 persons cleaning up, you know. Okay. I know they get $135 a day. Plus, we pay their NIS, and we give them lunch and dinner. 2 meals a day. The net effect of that is $200. The skilled workmen going to get more in their hand. These are persons who are just cleaning. But I don't want you to say you're a skilled workman when you don't even know how to read a spirit level or know how to pull a tape, because all going to happen, the contractor, your boss man, can get vexed with you and fire you. If all you could do is this, you'll still get good money. If it's something different you can do, there's a different money. Please, let's work together on these things. I'm begging you.
Okay, that's a good note. The guy's been giving me this signal for a very long time. We haven't even gotten enough time to talk about some of the things we wanted to talk about, the Venezuelan elections, the elections in the USA, where Ms. Harris has been given the nod to be the candidate for the Democrats. Also, our own election says we're not too far away from that either. So we still have a lot of things to talk about, so I think I'll probably bring you back next week.
Bring me back, but our election is a good distance away.
Well, yes and no.
Yeah, a good distance away,
Yeah.
I'm concerned about relief, recovery, reconstruction.
There you go.
You know?
All the R's.
The 3 R's.
Yes.
You know, when I was a little boy going to primary school, the head teacher said, the first thing I'm going to make sure when you finish primary school, you have your 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic.
PM, it's your birthday tomorrow.
Yes.
We want to wish you a very happy birthday and continue to live strong and be well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Enjoy the day.
Bye.
That's our program for today. Until next week, Wednesday, when we'll have another edition of Roundtable Talk. Thank you for joining us, and do enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Good evening.